It's the Joe Padula Show, Clarksville's conversation.
Absolutely.
All right, so legally, can you be fired for not being allowed in a business, or if you put on a no-fly list, if you're a Trump supporter, all this stuff? Let's know our rights. Let's know our options. Here's why I'm bringing up this question.
In the state of Tennessee, they don't need a reason to fire you.
Well, Bay, we'll get into it all here because we'll start off with Senator Chuck Schumer. He wants the Capitol rioters on a no-fly list ahead of the inauguration. So Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, he called for authorities to add the Capitol rioters to a national no-fly list to prevent more clashes January 20th at the inauguration. But get this, though. The day following the Capitol riots there. Let me show you this. Take a look. This is the people who that didn't even go into the Capitol building, who were just attending the rally, the President Donald Trump's rally at the White House on January 6th. So there's people who were not allowed on the planes to go back home.
This is what happens.
How did they know they were at the rally?
It's a great question.
What happens?
That's a great question. Yeah, I'm sure they just asked, right?
This is what
Hey, you're wearing a Trump hat. Were you at the rally? Yeah, America! Come with me, sir.
happens, guys. This is crazy, yo.
For attending a rally, by the way, okay? Ma'am, you'll have to come with me.
How do they know? She has nothing Trump on her.
I know, and that's what's weird. And here's the thing, too.
Facial recognition.
Then the clapping.
So crazy.
Yeah, nice face shield, ma'am. By the way, those plastic face shields do nothing.
Well, they work just as well as the masks.
No, well, yes, I agree with you on that, Lawyer Wayne. Right, like I said, they barely do anything, especially when they come to your chin.
Thank God.
Oh, thank God. Thank God that person who supports Donald Trump is off of this plane. Thank God. Do you hear yourselves? Reverse it. Reverse the roles. Oh, that person went to a Kamala Harris rally. Get them off of this plane. Thank God.
This is the lady who was seen in the other video comforting the crying toddler guy who was kicked off a flight. They're all on the no-fly list for being radical white terrorists.
For being radical white terrorists.
So crazy. It's like we're not.
That's crazy, man. That is crazy. That's my definition of crazy. Listen to them. Get off of the plane.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry I got to take this a step further. The two passengers we need to remove from the airplane are refusing to do that, and we can resolve this easily, but at this point...
Who makes that call? Who makes that decision to these airlines? Do you know what I mean? Who is the person that says, hey, and anyone that was at the Trump rally, we can't have him on the plane. Psh. I mean, if this is across all these different airlines.
How did they know that they was at the rally?
I don't know, Bay. I really don't know. I don't know if they asked a question.
You can tell by looking at them.
No, but like
They
Casey
have those
said, that
beady eyes.
yeah, she's got that Trump strut going.
They look like manatees.
But yeah, like what Casey said, like. Oh, the clapping.
She's even wearing a
But-
mask.
but
Like, it's not like she's.
But the thing is, what was said before this footage is shown.
Right.
Yeah.
Were they talking about being there?
Have a good day.
great day.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
That lady refused. She was like, listen, what are you talking about? Yeah. Look at this lady here. This white supremacist here, who looks like she goes shopping at like H&M. She's got pink boots on, for crying out loud, or whatever those are. So I mean, there's interesting conversation right there. Lawyer Wayne, what do you know about the legalities? Like, say one of these people come to you, okay, and they're like, hey, this and this. I got kicked off of a plane because I was at a rally. I didn't go in the Capitol. I had to get another flight. I had to book a whole nother way to get home or whatever. What if somebody comes to you as a client or a potential client? What rights do they have, or do you know of?
You know, when you buy airline tickets and things like that, you flew here recently, right?
Yeah.
Did you buy your tickets online?
Yeah.
Did it have a bunch of stuff you had to scroll past and click that you agreed to? Probably in there somewhere it said we can kick you off for any reason we want.
Right.
Because why wouldn't they? You're not going to read it anyways until it's too late. So what you're going to sue them, and they're going to say, oh, you agreed right here. We kick you off anytime we want. So
Now, what about when it comes down to, like, civil rights? Okay, you say, because in that caption, the same thing with a baseball game. You know what I mean? You buy a ticket to a baseball game. You do this. We get the right to kick you off.
right.
But now it's something with an idea, an ideology. Okay, where they're like, okay, you're a Trump supporter.
Right.
You got to go. There's no civil liberties that protects that.
And civil liberties usually apply to one of two things.
Okay.
One, the government. The government has its own set of rules that it can't discriminate on. Say you work a government job. You have more protections, say freedom of speech, that kind of stuff.
14th Amendment.
Because when the government fires you, when the government fires you for your speech, that's different than a private business is firing for your speech. But other than that, there has to be a law saying what the business is doing is illegal. So, for example, the Civil Rights Act says you can't discriminate on the basis of race, religion, things like that.
All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law.
So those are rules that apply, as you read there, to states, the government, and by states, we generally apply that to localities like cities and county governments, things like that, all the way up to the federal government. Businesses, kind of the opposite. The rule is you can do whatever you want unless there's a law saying you can't, right? And so, like I said, there's the Civil Rights Act and other local laws that sometimes prohibit discrimination on various factors, but none of those that I'm aware of, at least in Tennessee, would protect someone from being discriminated against based on their political beliefs or affiliations.
How about this one, where some corporations halt donations to Republicans who voted against certifying Biden's win?
Likewise, I think if you wanted to start a restaurant and say, Republicans only or Democrats only, I think you're allowed to do that. You couldn't do that for other protected categories. You couldn't say this is a restaurant for black people only or for white people only, because discrimination based on race is prohibited by law. There's no prohibition based on political affiliation.
Casey, have you ever used GoFundMe before?
No,
No?
I have not.
Good for you then.
I have kind of a, I don't know, very
She don't
opinion
need it.
about
She's rich.
GoFundMe now.
Yeah. She funds herself.
What's your issue with GoFundMe?
There's something about asking for money for things. Like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of them out there are just, I feel like it's used for the wrong purpose. So I think GoFundMe would be really great if your house burned down and I want to create a GoFundMe page to help raise money to get new stuff, right?
Right.
But me setting up my own GoFundMe to some of the stuff out there, I don't know. Anyways,
one of them is a GoFundMe has GoFundMe has prohibited fundraisers raising money for travel to the political protests on its platform following what happened at the Capitol on the 6th of January.
And GoFundMe can pick sides.
Right.
Presumably, they can say, "Well, we'll fund travel to say go to a Biden rally or something like that, but not for a Republican one."
Bang.
I can understand why they doing that though.
What do you
Because
think?
You don't want to incite a argument on the plane. You know what I'm saying? Just like they was kicking people off. You say certain things on the plane. You know what I'm saying? So that just say you have a couple Trump supporters on the plane and some other people on the plane, and they get to talking, and then there's a fight break out in the middle of midair. You know what I'm
So
saying?
why wouldn't you ban Biden supporters then? Like Casey said earlier, like you said earlier, how do you know who they are? How do you know they were at the rally?
It's whoever, talking. Other than that, it have to be a photo recognition. How they
take
catching
that-
all these people.
Like, take that one lady. I mean, are they going by, hey, you look like a Trump supporter? Now we're talking about this is some type of what do we use it when we in the service? We would judge situations on how people were looked.
We call it profile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, we definitely were profiling.
That's what they call it.
Now, okay,
Profiling.
so you profile someone. Well, you're a white middle-aged man with a beer gut.
But the thing is, the police
Hey,
was there.
it's a White Claw gut.
It's a white claw gut.
But the police was there all the time, pulling people off the plane. So something's up.
That's what's so dangerous about these Republicans. They can hide in plain sight. They're hard to profile.
Even people who
They come in
aren't
all shapes and sizes.
not even at the rally, who are actually working that day,
Yeah.
doing, political stuff like this,
Caught up in the sweep.
like this congresswoman. She's removed from the Harvard Advisory Committee over her objection to the election.
Oh, you can't do that.
Man.
Kicked out of Harvard.
Representative Elise Stefanik. She's out of New York. She's been removed from a senior advisory committee to Harvard University's Institute of Politics because of her decision to challenge the presidential election results last week. And here's the thing, too. Based on the challenge, which is constitutional, that is protected under the Constitution. A member of Congress can object to the electoral vote count in the Constitution. Same House of Representative member and a member of Congress, a member of Senate, has the right to, and it's been done for the past each election for the last how many years now? Now, it's been all Democrats who objected to election recently. Same thing with the
Not yet.
Like, check this one out. This is where it's just getting, and right now, unity is something that needs to be promoted.
And a top House Democrat is calling for several Republicans to be placed on the federal no-fly list for supporting President Trump, who he says should be on that list.
Why would Ted Cruz be put on the no-fly list?
Because he's a Republican and he supported Trump.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yes, you can't do that. They shouldn't be allowed to fly. We can't let them on an airplane.
It's very.
They have bad thoughts. They think bad things. They say bad things, and they inspire people to do bad acts.
Lawyer Wayne is saying that so we don't get kicked off of YouTube and
There's
Facebook.
a bunch of people
so I
that
appreciate
ran
that.
into the Capitol building and like grabbed stuff and
Yeah.
broke windows and got shot and all kinds of stuff because of people thinking the wrong things and saying
And those
things that are not right.
Those people should be arrested. Same thing as, and the argument keeps on going back to what we saw over the summer. Those individuals.
Yeah, everybody that breaks stuff and burn down stuff should be arrested.
Agreed.
That's
Absolutely.
both sides.
That's no matter what the situation is, you break the law.
You breaking the law.
Right. I just want to make sure that law enforcement aren't breaking the laws.
Yep.
That's just what I'm looking out for. That's my job right now. Like, take this one, for example. Now, more of Trump's banks cut ties as backlash grows over violence. So some of his relationships with the financial industry is once again under pressure after his top creditor, his hometown bank, and even his mortgage lender, in the wake of the riots at the U.S. Capitol, saying you can't do business with us. Now, here's the thing. once again, what I'm trying to say is Trump didn't incite any riots.
Yes, he did. He did. Many men on the TV and several women. I saw it on TV. That
Lawyer
said
Wayne?
that he incited riots. I
did?
saw a bunch of people say that.
Well, you did see that on TV.
And on the radio. I haven't listened to the. No, I heard it on the radio too. I heard it on NPR. They said he incited riots.
Did he? Did NPR tell you this part
We have come to demand that Congress
from the speech?
do the right thing and only count the electors who have been lawfully slated. Lawfully slated. I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
See, that's where they got him, because you know what that means.
Oh.
All year we've been saying mostly peaceful protest. What does that mean? It means looting, burning, violence.
Well, CNN was saying mostly.
It's a dog whistle. When
It's a
he
dog
says
whistle.
peacefully make your that his supporters know what he means.
Lawyer
when
Wayne,
he says
you're going to make people
peacefully,
jump ship from
it
here.
means the opposite. Peace means
To
war.
peacefully and
Yes.
patriotically make your voices
It's
heard.
code.
Today we
Obviously.
That's why they did it.
For integrity.
And then on top of
And
it,
if you don't interpret it that way, then you're blind.
oh, I must be, but I can't wait to see this one. How about this? So they pieced together the timeline of that day of news media reporting and footage captured from the Capitol that day.
Right.
So you're saying that based on the timeline from what we know, that even prior to when you and I walked by around 1 o'clock, maybe 1:10, but there were people who had already been there, probably couldn't have attended the president's speech, and that were pre-planning to commit this activity regardless of what the president said.
Okay, so without a teleportation device, it is impossible for somebody to have been at the president's speech and then at the Capitol. Here's the timeline, and people can go away and look this up for themselves. The president got up to speak at noon on the dot and did not finish speaking until 1:11 p.m. Eastern Time. He exited the stage at 1:13 p.m. Eastern Time. Minutes is how long it takes to go, and remember the streets are closed. You can't take a car, so you have to walk from the White House to the Capitol, which puts the first people who were able to listen to the president's speech at the Capitol at about 1:56 p.m.
Come on,
That's
Joe.
a full hour and 16 minutes after Steve Sun says the first people were at the perimeter at the Capitol building.
Here. First
Right, so the
off,
timeline
Hold on, let the man
work.
speak.
The people who were listening to the president, and the fact that, by the way, and we should also mention, how was cell phone service that day?
Impossible. Impossible. Could barely get any, could certainly not live stream the president's speech while you were standing outside and get incited that
Right,
way.
because I've seen people say, oh, well, maybe they were listening to the president's speech.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do while you're smashing down windows and causing havoc outside the U.S. Capitol, is you have a speech on your phone in front of you while you're doing it.
It really wasn't possible.
It doesn't make sense. It's a total nonsense. And so what we have to do is treat these two events as completely separate events. You had troublemakers, and I couldn't care less who they politically support. You condemn them nonetheless. They were there to cause trouble, and they did not attend President Trump's speech. Here's why it's important. The Democrats are now trying to impeach this president, again, using the words from his speech and saying that his speech incited people to violence. I will repeat this again. You could not have listened to the president's speech and made it over to the Capitol in time for that timeline to work.
Yeah, Lawyer Wayne,
where do we
you
start?
object.
First off,
Yeah, what do you
for
got,
those
Lawyer
that are
Wayne?
listening and can't see,
Uh-huh.
that man was wearing what appeared to be a polo shirt under a suit jacket over the top of a dress shirt and tie, and his collar was popped. The collar of a polo shirt underneath a suit jacket popped.
I think
it was amazing.
I think you made that statement because you are racist against people of Indian
Second,
descent.
he had a foreign accent, and he is talking about American politics, which I think is foreign interference with our elections, which is illegal.
Lawyer Wayne, once again, is doing his part in making sure we don't get kicked off of YouTube and Facebook.
And the first people there were the Russian agents, because this was pre-planned by the Russians so that they could get in and bug all the offices in Congress under the cover of a mostly peaceful protest.
And with that all being said, so businesses blocking, not allowing you to do business with them, I have the one story of the guy being fired, which I think he should have been fired. I got no problem with you being fired from your job if you got caught inside that Capitol and your wife rats you out. Where is that one? Arrested Air Force vet pictured in Senate Hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turned in by his ex-wife. I'm sorry.
I was about to say.
Ex-wife?
His wife?
Yeah.
Missing a word there, sir.
But
guess who's got custody now?
Right.
But then again, the no-fly list, where they want senators and people who support Donald Trump to be put on no-fly list.
I don't see
without any conviction of inciting a riot.
Yeah.
So legally, can this now be turned against them for defamation of character? Like, say the bank says, we won't do business with you because you incited a riot. Can then President Trump or people that get denied business say, well, there's been no conviction, and that is pure your opinion? And then can they say, well, you're saying I did something illegal? If someone says I did something illegal publicly and doesn't allow me to do something, I'm calling you Lawyer Wayne.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you don't bother, but okay.
Why not? Fill me in.
Oh, defamation suits are for rich people only.
Well, I got Casey Bryant, who doesn't need GoFundMe.
Yeah, people that don't need GoFundMe, they can afford
That's right.
defamation suits.
But do you see what I'm saying here?
You move on with your life. People say nasty things.
And the whole time here, when they're calling for unity and everything, stop BSing us if this is your approach. Plus, on top of it, I got a question.
Unity doesn't mean that people that think one way and people that think another way are going to get along together. Unity means everyone needs to think the right way.
Yeah, sounds familiar, right? Das ist gut, huh?
You need to think the right way. There's no room
the papers in Otta?
for wrong things.
Well, I'll tell you what. Somebody actually did come out and supported the rioters. So let me pull up that clip.
Now, stop. They're not going to stop, and they're not. This is a movement. I'm telling you, they're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels. That this isn't. They're not going to let up, and they should not, and we should not.
Oh wait, that was Kamala Harris on June 18th.
Right.
Talking about the BLM riots and Antifa riots.
You mean the mostly peaceful protests?
Right.
Peacefully and patriotically making their voices heard.
Peacefully? Interesting.
The Capitol protest resulted in one person shot dead, 14 officers injured, and damage to one federal building. BLM and Antifa riots over 2020 resulted in over 23 people, including children, shot dead, 700 officers injured, and over 150 federal buildings damaged.
So, should she be put on a no-fly list? Should banks stop doing business with her?
I don't think she should be allowed to go anywhere without an armed guard for the rest of her life.
Well, she don't have to worry about that. She don't have to worry about that. That's for sure. But yeah, I just find it all interesting that there are these things going on, and people are just taking it.
You see, one side does the wrong thing for the right reasons. The other side does the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. You got to figure out which side you want to be on.
Well, I know the side I'm on.
You can't just say stop doing wrong things.
I'm on the side of not only just freedom of speech, not only just civil liberties for all, right, but common sense, to be honest with you. You know, blatant bias is going to catch up. It really is. Like, take a look at this one. Facebook to remove all content that mentions stop the Steelers.
The Steelers.
Yeah, stop the Steelers. We're talking about football.
Yeah.
Okay, Facebook?
A lot of football-related
Very
content.
good, babe.
Take it down soon.
Yeah, got to stop those Steelers. Let's go Giants, right. Isn't that something? Anything about stop the Steelers, Pittsburgh. Yeah, so hey, there it is. There is definitely a bias against them. There is a hypocrisy, that's for sure. But all right. Bay, what do you make of it all, man?
Oh, this year gonna be something. It's gonna be something.
This ex-wife.
Oh, yeah.
So the retired Air Force colonel, it's high rank, man, was photographed inside the Senate chamber.
Yes, colonel is higher than a corporal. I learned that on this show.
Yes.
Not the same thing.
No, much difference. So he was wearing military gear and holding zip ties during the protest at the U.S. Capitol. The zip tie guy, yeah.
Right. The one from Tennessee?
Okay.
Or a different guy?
I believe this is a different guy.
Okay.
So he was turned in by his ex-wife, according to the affidavit. Yeah. So his ex-wife of 18 years.
Oh, so she's getting a piece of his retirement.
Contacted the FBI to support a criminal complaint that charges him with one of those one count of knowingly entering it or remaining in any restricted building or grounds without lawful authority.
She wants something that would warm, man.
And one count of violent entry and disorderly conduct on Capitol grounds. So, yeah, it says in the affidavit, quote, "I just know that when I saw this was happening, I was afraid he would be there," said the ex-wife. I think it was such a good picture of him, and I recognize his patch. They're talking about his unit patch, I'm guessing. Yeah, a witness reported to the FBI that he recognized the guy in a picture inside the Capitol building and told him about his military background. Again, hey, listen, thank you for your service, but shouldn't have been inside there. Shouldn't have been inside. And according to that timeline now, I question who was. Well, if you went to the rally, were you really at the rally? Or did you go there with certain intentions? Crazy.
If he's in for more than 60 days, his military retired pay stops. And if she's getting a chunk of it, I think it stops too. She better bail him out.
What if he goes to if he goes to jail
for a certain amount of time?
So because if they start
they'll
charging,
stop paying your retired pay if you go to jail for a certain amount of time.
Because this is going for a federal.
Yeah.
This is
that other guy that from Tennessee they're holding without bail. Last I heard.
That's 10 years.
So if this retired colonel gets thrown in prison for more than 6 months,
60 days. I think.
60 days?
Yeah, 61.
That's 3.
Is my
3 months.
my understanding. Don't quote me on that, people. That's just my off the
ex-wife. You should have called him before you did this.
I've never had a client go to jail for long enough to get cut off their military retired pay, so I don't know that on a practical level.
And that's why you want LawyerWayne.com. Know your rights, know your options. All right, so let's move forward. Let us know what you think. Hey, do us a favor. Make sure to share this on your timeline, and we appreciate your comments as well. No doubt about it. We'll get to it. What's up, Ryan Quinn? How you doing? Ryan Quinn, dude, Facebook even tried to cancel Ron Paul. Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, he got locked out when he posted something they didn't like.
Ron Paul.
As it should be. He needs to be careful.
Ed Reynolds on YouTube. The Capitol thing sounds more peaceful to me than any peaceful protest this summer. Yeah,
Stop saying peaceful. We know what that means.
The Capitol was a peaceful protest.
Yeah, very peaceful.
Christopher Early, he says, I think that they only stop your pay while you're in. After release of...
I think after release you'd have to reapply for it.
At least you will get it again.
It's that way with other government benefits.
So,
no.
Yeah.
I've never had that happen with military retired pay in particular.
It's the Joe Padula Show. Bada bing. Clarksville's conversation.